If you are able, please stand for the pledge. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. All right. Moving on, if we could have a motion to adopt tonight's agenda as presented.
I will make a motion to adopt tonight's agenda as presented.
Thank you.
I will second that.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Item number 5 is call to the public, and I do not believe we have any public comment cards. All right, thank you. Then number 6 is our information and discussion items. We're going to start out with our superintendent's report. Mr. Schultz.
All right, this is our first meeting after the first day of school. And I thought it went very, very well. We had the heavy traffic at Territorial, which is anticipated. We had the Arizona Rangers come out and help us both at Territorial and at Heritage in Del Rio. They were a great help moving traffic around. And so I want to thank them. We had transportation issues, which are normal, but there seemed to be less. And I think part of the reason is that we did not change routes from the end of last year to the beginning of this year. We did not change any routes. We kept them the same. People were kind of used to them. We will be making some tweaks in September, but they should not be major things. But we did do that. We have, most of our instructional positions are filled, which is good. We had PE starting at the K-5 schools, which is exciting. I was over. I was over at Del Rio today, and a little girl comes up to me and says, it was a 4th grader. I really like PE. And I go, so what have you been doing? Well, we haven't done anything yet. We've just been going over rules, but they go, are you going to start today? And she goes, yeah, we're going to do something. So the kids are very excited. I know had a portion of the cafeteria blocked off over at Territorial for that PE teacher. So that is a good thing. Our 2 new principals working hard, fitting right in. And overall, it seems to be smoother than in the past or than normal. So I was very excited, and we'll knock on wood wherever we can. Staffing, we currently have 1 certified staff position open. There is another one on the website that at Territorial that is that if we fill, great. If not, it's really for visa purposes. One of our Filipino teachers, we're required to advertise her position for her visa. So we have a social studies position at the high school, and that was opened over the weekend. We had a teacher resign. So we are working to fill that, and we've had a few openings that we've been filling. So we've been successful there. We hope we are successful with our social studies position as well. Enrollment, there is a sheet attached to this report that has historical enrollments over the last 4 years. In addition to our current enrollment, I do want to give a big shout out to our registrars and our admin assistants. They've been doing a fantastic job in clearing those kiddos that have not been showing up. We probably have had less than half of the no-shows this year than we have in the past. So it just makes cleaner numbers. We are down about 20 ADM. And that is really accounted for at the middle school. The reason being that we had a extremely large class leave at the middle school and a fairly small class come in. And so that really accounts for that change. All the other schools right now compared to last year's ADM are at or above where they were last year. Not a ton, but a little bit. So that is where we're at. Again, this is very, very, very early. Things will change, and what tends to happen is the high school, our ADM typically stays about the same. Our high school ADM goes down, and then our K-8 ADM will increase to keep things the same. So that's typical, but early on, we are about 20 ADM down. And then, any questions so far? I've been firing through. Yes, sir.
John, why would there be no shows? These are kids who registered, but they moved or something like that?
Correct. In the past, a lot of it has been our Registrar's catching up on records requests, because that's really the indicator that a kid went somewhere else. They've been doing a fantastic job really keeping up on those. And so those no-show numbers have come down. But you're exactly right. It's kids that just haven't really enrolled. We haven't gotten a records request. They haven't showed up to school. We cannot unenroll them until either we make contact with them or the 11th day. So after 10 days of no-shows, those kiddos that are not off the rolls come off the rolls. However, I can tell you, well, right now, we have, Territorial, we have 2, Del Rio has done a great job, and we have 0. 4 at the middle school and 10 at the high school. Those, again, numbers are extremely low than in the past. So we've been making contact. Kids have been showing up, things like that. So, Any other questions so far? Construction update. If you look at the bottom part that says completed, those are all things that happened pretty much over the summer. And our staff has been busy. John's been busy with SFOB projects. Mr. Livingston, Chris has been in part of that. Chris's staff has been doing a lot of work. If you've been to either high school gyms, they look fantastic with the new bleachers. We have a new roof on this building. We have, drive by past Territorial. There's a nice new fence that's gone up, a brick wall, and then a nice new fence to kind of keep the water from off the road going into Lake Territorial when it rains. We haven't had that tested yet. Let's hope that we do. But so there's been a ton of work going on over the summer. We have some stuff going on now that some kitchen equipment install. We have still the fire reconstruction. It's been over a year on the 4 classrooms at the high school. There's the health office floor, which I understand is going to be done hopefully at Del Rio next couple of days. Hopefully.
Yeah, they're just finishing up.
Right. The gym lights we were just talking about at the high school. We think that they were blown out when the power pole was hit by a vehicle, and so they're changing out the lights and rewiring those. Those should be done hopefully within a week or 2. I want to talk a little bit about the gas lines. There's CVHS gas lines on there and DRS gas lines. Those are on the consent agenda for emergency procurement. The way that our gas lines are, we'll say, plumbed at the high school and the middle school, the district is considered the gas company in those cases. And and we have to have them tested according to Arizona Corporation Commission regulations. Mr. Livingston, what's the term for that? It's I can't remember the term for that gas line when it happens. There's a term for it.
Well, there's a pressure test.
Right, but I mean the reason why there's a
deficiency.
There's a term that's used to define why we're the gas company.
Oh, well, I guess it's the location of the meter.
Yeah. Anyway, there's master meter. We're on what's called a master meter. That's what it is. And because we're on a master meter, we have to follow the ACC Corporation Commission. We do pressure testing. Well, a week before school started, Del Rio failed its pressure test. We were able to get a contractor in there and replace the gas lines at Del Rio in a week. Then they moved over and did the pressure test at the high school, and we failed at the high school. They're currently working on replacing the gas lines, but we have a portion of the campus enough to operate the campus still has gas. It's from just past the brick buildings east is on these meters, kind of the new portion of the campus. And so if you've noticed, you might see some construction going on, some trenching, some big yellow gas lines that they're putting in that are new, all that. The Territorial or the Del Rio job was $300,000, I think. And the high school job was $1.3 million, all paid for by the school facilities board. But these are things that we knew the high school was going to need work. We were hoping to wait until the summer and do it next summer when we had time. It didn't work out, but we were able to keep operating while they do the work in the next. And I don't know what the time frame is, but they're currently working on it as we on the mostly nights, weekends, and Fridays. So that is Yes, sir.
Does that mean there was leakage in the lines?
Yes, I saw
Outside?
pictures of pipe that had holes in it.
Yeah, that's scary.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's worth the money to get that fixed as
Yes.
soon as possible.
Yes. And so again, it failed the pressure test, and because of that, that's why we had to go to this direction. There's also, this campus has been around, well, the old schools in the parking lot, but, we're talking 50s. So, there's parts of the campus that are 70 years old. We had some gas lines that were not done properly also, that will be done properly as part of this project. So the other thing I know, Mr. Tony, you emailed me about this, the teacherage. We will be having a tour and ribbon cutting when the time comes. I saw a picture today. Actually, Dr. Moody showed me a picture of they had drywalled the inside. They've done the insulation on the inside, and they paved the fire lane going around in the parking lot. So that's done. So we are moving forward. We are with Mrs. Wolf. We're working on identifying residents, and so an email went out to certified staff on who's interested. We are aiming for an October 1 at a minimum, and if we can get people in there earlier, fine, but we will have some kind of ribbon cutting and ceremony that involves the contractor, the town, the district, the county schools office who provided the funding for this. So we will have something along with a tour that people can go in and kind of take the 2-minute tour of what it takes to look at 375 square feet.
I've been over there for football practice and they work long hours.
Yeah.
They've been working a really long time.
Yeah, I've been impressed with the contractor over there, and I've been in there a couple times, and it's not shabby work. They're doing a really good job, and it will be nice. And it's surprisingly, you're not going to fit a family in 4 of these things, but 1 or 2 people, I think, could comfortably live inside, in these units. That's what the idea was. So you all be invited and have advanced notice of this when it takes place. Let's see. That's it on the construction. A couple of you attended the strategic planning meeting that we had in this room on July 27th. There was a review and discussion of the vision and mission statements and beliefs and values. There was also discussion of a portrait of a graduate. What we want to see a Chino Valley High School student look like academically, socially, things like that. So
One closest to you. That one right there.
he has a box of like 12 radios that he's trying to work on.
Sorry. I apologize.
We had a safety meeting. We were going over radios today, so that's why that's there. And so we have the SBA staff usually they put a summer out. We haven't gotten that yet, so I'll share that with you when it comes in. I wasn't in touch with Amy last week, and she's working on that right now. We have our last core meeting is scheduled for September 21st from 3 p.m. to 4 p.m. or 7 p.m. in this room. So you are all welcome. It is, we put on the agenda, we post an agenda, we put it on the soft posting as well. So if we have more than 2 board members, it's okay, as long as you don't talk to each other. That's the important part. So that's the strategic planning process. There is also a governing board training that's being held at the Yavapai County Education Service Agency training room on August 28th from 4 p.m. to 8 p.m. If you are interested, let Karen know, and she will RSVP with the count to Jen or on your behalf. So just let her know that you're interested. There is a calendar here. We have the governing board training on September 2nd, which is the Saturday of Labor Day weekend. We have the 10K, 5K, and 2 mile at Memory Park at 7 o'clock. That is a fundraiser for our cross-country team. So if you're interested, Karen can get you the sign up, or you can just watch. There's also on that same day, the corn dinner from 3 p.m. to 7 p.m. That's the fundraiser for our FFA alumni. You can get tickets. Karen can give you the link to that as well. There are online tickets that you can buy. Labor Day is on the 4th. Our next governing board meeting is on the 11th. I will not be here. Cindy Daniels will be running that meeting for me. The strategic planning core meeting is on the 21st of September. We have an ASBA county meeting for those that have been to a county meeting before. Just you get to hang out with other board members from other districts in the county. There's some business that takes place. They usually have a program that takes place. I have the date, but I don't have the location or an agenda yet. They usually get that out about a month ahead of time. So we should expect that any time now. But that's September 26th, usually in the evening, like a 5 to 8 or a 4 to 8 or something like that. But we'll get that information to you as soon as we have it. We have confirmed our October 4th meeting at the Paulden Community Center. That has been set up. We have guidance on how to get the code when the time comes and things like that. So that has been formalized, and our fall break is October 9th through 12th. That'll get you through the first quarter.
Any
Questions, concerns, comments for me? I'm delaying our time. I'm the longest
Yeah,
presentation for that.
yeah.
Sorry about that.
It just made me miss my challenge. All right, thank you, Mr. Schultz.
Uh-huh.
Moving along, Mr. Livingston, financial reports ending July 31st.
Great, thank you, Madam President. Members of the board, administration, staff, ladies and gentlemen, just a quick look at the month ended July 31st. We have until around September 15th or 20th to close all the transactions for the prior year. What I call the 23 year ended June 30th. We still have revenue, we still have expenditures. Crossing, we've got one COVID grant that doesn't end till September 30th of 24. And that started back in March of 2020. That's 5 fiscal years. So revenue and expense goes back and forth. So what you have then tonight in the financials is a quick look at just the month of July from the, again, I'm going to stay in the 23 ledger. So you look at that. You see 983,000 expended in the M&O fund, 122,000 in the capital fund. Just a quick update on a couple, just 3 more of those consent agenda items. We have sale of equipment in there. We've got that on item D. The ones I really wanted to go over was the PM maintenance reporting statement. And that's from our facilities department. And it just shows that all these items that have a schedule for maintaining have been maintained according to that schedule. And the state is really interested in that because they don't want to spend hundreds of thousands or even millions of dollars to show that we've got facilities and then not maintain them. So that's a preventive statement. And then we have a fire alarm. I just wanted to run this by you as well. Item O. And we got a little surprise. We know that the school facilities board has approved the $46,000 contract to do the study. They call it an assessment and a design for the Del Rio fire alarm. We have 2 failed fire alarm systems, one at HMS from a lightning strike July 4th of 2021. Finally, it's operable, but it's not without its little bugs. There's still sections that you can't trust, I guess you could say. But 2 years and a month later, it's installed, and that was through the trust. Our insurance repaired it. But now the facilities board sees that it's the deficiency at Del Rio School, so they spent $46,000 to get a design in place. Then we went out and selected contractors, and the contractor we're bringing to you was quite a bit lower than the other 2. But we did a lot of backgrounding and vetting, and the person's done work at the district, and we think it'll be a good mix. The school facilities board will save over $100,000 compared to some of the other prices. But then again, they're from down in Maricopa County, these 2 other contractors, and they had significant costs. So if you want any more information on that, it's on the consent agenda. But we feel confident that the Surefire systems will do a good job with that. I just wanted to throw that out there. Then we have the local support for this system as well. And moving on at the end of the cash, just to kind of illustrate where our cash is. If you look at my cash balances right before item 9B2, you see 7.2 million on that page, overall cash, 7,214,000. Then you look up the street there at Fund 691, you see another $691,000 of cash in that fund. That is the school facilities board fund. We're paying about $1 million a month to different contractors for all these school facilities board projects. So that cash we know won't be there at the end of the fiscal year. It will be paid out When it's booked in and we haven't paid it out yet, we only write checks every Wednesday. We have to show that cash. So the cash is definitely a little overstated. That's 7.2 million. It will go down to like 6.5 million. But we still have money going both ways for last year. And that's my quick summary of where we're at with the July expenses. That's the only month we have in the brand new year. Any questions on?
Ladies,
Finances
any
again.
questions? Gentlemen? All right, thank you. Would you like to continue with student activity fund report, please?
Certainly, this is a really nice report this month. We started the month with 145,000. We had no activity, no revenue or expense changing hands, so we ended the month with 145,000, and it's secure and it's in the bank, and we're ready to start activities.
Great. First of the year, that's wonderful.
Thank you.
Consent agenda, there's a couple of items that Mr. Livingston talked about already. But other than that, if we can get a motion to approve tonight's consent agenda.
I will make a motion to approve tonight's consent agenda.
And a second, please. I'll second. Thank you. All in favor? Aye. Oh. And now, item 8A, an IEP coordinator job change. Ms. Caldwell.
Hi, well, I appreciate being here and having the opportunity to speak with you today for the very first time. So we just had some shifts. Originally, this posting was posted in April before I started, and it was to get a special education coordinator. We submitted approval from you towards the end of May to revamp the job description because we weren't getting any bites. So we changed it to an IEP coordinator trainer. We were still struggling to find qualified applicants. We wanted a certified teacher who knew about IEP compliance, and it just was not, we weren't getting any bites. So we kind of had to get creative, and in DLT, I shared the problem with the team, and we kind of problem solved and decided to change the position more to a 12-month job and kind of have a classified person overseeing it. So instead of a 10-month certified, it's now a 12-month, pending your approval. In hopes that we could have one person that's managing paperwork district-wide. It really creates a lot of cohesiveness. Some of our needs have changed in terms of looking at our Medicaid needs. I'm working with John Livingston, and so we have one set of eyes. And so the shift has happened in having a year-round person and focusing on all paperwork district-wide. So we no longer feel that we need a certified person in that position.
Makes sense. I'll start on this side tonight. Gentlemen, any questions for Ms. Caldwell?
I've got a real quick one.
Okay, please.
Yeah, I did read the job description, and I know we're going from a certified to a classified. From a practical standpoint, what is the difference of the training experience between that, certified versus classified in the same position?
Well, it's a big difference because we were trying to seek out someone who was certified who had program experience teaching directly in the classroom. We weren't able to find a qualified candidate after being posted for many months. So what we're doing is we're taking a person who is a very quick learner and who's more focused on admin assistant kind of work, like paperwork, and training her on IEP compliance. So she has all these materials and resources and she's learning. And what's nice about that is she's coming in and she's learning exactly how we need to write IEPs so that they're in compliance, not only for the state, but for our Medicaid billing. And she's looking at 578 IEPs. That's how many students we have to date that have IEPs. And she's cohesively making sure that every document lines up with the needs that we're looking at for both Medicaid and for the Department of Ed. It's just nice. That other position was really knowledgeable about program, but we don't necessarily need that anymore because the money that we're saving on this role now being a classified 12-month is actually going to be going to stipends for teacher leaders who are providing that mentorship piece. So I think we're going to talk about that today too. And so that is going to really help to meet that criteria. So it's a different knowledge base, but it's come out to be a different need. I hope that answers the question.
To me, because we talked about this last month too, and to me, I guess the difference is you really need somebody who can do the day-to-day IEPs for every kid in the program more than the higher professional administrative skills that the classified or certified would have. Is that a reasonable description of where you're going?
That is a reasonable description. Yeah, we need continuity with our paperwork, and it's nice having one person who's managing all of it district-wide. The previous person who was in this role last year had too many hats, and this way we just are gonna streamline.
Thank you.
Fantastic, thank you. Ladies, any questions or comments?
No, I just can't believe there's that many children with IEPs.
I know, I thought the same thing.
That's a lot. That's a lot for one person to keep up with too.
It's a lot. I might come to you later asking for more things.
Surprise, surprise.
So we already have a person that's going to be doing this?
We do, and she's already doing a great job. We hit the ground running because we have so many transfer students coming in, which is why that kind of influx is happening. So she has learned, she has all the tools in her toolbox to respond to teachers. She's not writing IEPs, but she's reading and correcting them and making sure they're in compliance for us. And she's doing a great job already. We already got some wonderful feedback from teachers saying, wow, are you going to be looking at all of them this closely? And we said, yes, because we need to be in compliance for, like I mentioned, the Medicaid portion and the Arizona Department of Education portion. And those two factors need to be weighed in for every single document.
One of our mentors is here.
Oh, yes, one of our mentors is here. So that's like a whole other exciting thing, but I don't know the rules because this is my first board meeting speaking to you. So I don't know if we can talk about that. I think it'll come up later.
All right, thank you.
But Daryl Rankin, amazing.
That's wonderful, thank you. Seeing no more discussion, if we can have a motion,
I'll
please.
make the motion for the approval of IEP coordinator job change.
And a second.
I'll second it.
Thank you, Peter. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Thank you. Item 8B, personnel report. Ms. Swoll, welcome.
Madam Chair and board members, I hope you got our supplement. And currently, we have 2 new certified staff members, 4 new classified, 5 resignations, 10 classified changes, 24 extra duties, stipends, and 4 of them are for the mentor stipends for the special education teachers. We have so many new staff members, and Daryl is one of them from the high school. 1 termination, 1 retirement, a new golf coach, and 76 timesheets.
Welcome back to school.
Yes.
All right, any questions on tonight's report with supplement?
Nope.
Seeing none, I will entertain a motion for approval of tonight's.
I will make the motion of the approval of the personnel report with the supplement.
Second. I will second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Thank you very much. I do my job for you. Item 9, I'm on 9B. Item 9A, consideration and possible action to appoint a member as the district delegate to the Arizona School Board Association Delegate Assembly, September 9th. Mr. Shaw.
So this is the delegate assembly, which takes place the Saturday after the law conference. And this is where, I know that Annie, you've been there. I think, Mike, have you done it before? Has anyone else done it? Okay. Maybe you can describe best what takes place. It's a I won't say a conversation. It's,
It is. kind of.
Okay.
I would just say it's a conversation of the wording of the way that some of the laws are written. Right?
well, yeah, it's basically, and you're gonna approve the draft political agenda. And I think it's basically a negotiation on developing the language in that drafted, or taking that draft agenda and making it formalized. Is that fair to say?
It's a delegate assembly. It takes whereby several motions will be made and the entire body votes on it. And essentially it's the political agenda.
Each governing board has the option to send a delegate. If you don't send somebody, you don't have any voice. You don't have to. There's been many years where we haven't sent anybody. And so it's just, this is something that the board has to, if someone's interested in going and being that delegate, the board has to make that selection. And if not, that's okay. And if so, Karen can make some reservations. But that's really up to you guys.
When's this, September 9th, you said?
Correct. So it's the day after the law conference. So the law conference, I think, goes Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. And this is on that Saturday in the same location.
You should go. Would anyone like to be the delegate?
Well, I'm gonna be down there already. I'm gonna go to the,
And do you have plan, I mean, are you able to stay that next day?
yeah, I can stay the next day.
We might have to move hotel room. 'cause they're
Okay.
booked for
Okay.
this. Up to you.
Either of you interested?
They don't want to hear from me because you know my opinions on that annual
All right,
exercise.
Marcia, it is.
And I feel like it's like a one and done.
Yes.
Well, if you can give me room, I can, I'll just go. How's that?
So if I can get you a room, you will go. If I can't, you're not going.
All right, so this would be an action
Because I don't
item.
want to go down there and not have a place to stay Friday.
Yeah, that's probably good.
That's not an act- This isn't an action item, right?
It actually, it
It
should be, yeah, it just is.
Oh,
It's
it is
discussion.
action.
Oh,
Okay,
it is action.
I'll make a motion. Decide if the board, for the approval, right,
Mhm.
of the board, that the board wants a delegate, and we approved Marcia to be the delegate for Chino Valley Governing Board.
All right, a second, please. Thank you, Peter. All in favor? Aye. Okay, now let's talk about the ASBA draft 2024 political agenda.
So a while back, you saw the draft. There has been some changes. There's a red line version in your book that talks about some things. They took out Arizona's Teacher Academy efforts to increasing pipeline of certified teachers. They took some info or some language out about school finance formula. They added some about base funding. They talk about SFB in number 7. They talk about adequate funding levels for rural and remote areas, gifted students and early intervention programs, which would be preschool, like universal preschool, that kind of thing. Add CTEDs in number 11, which is important to our district. But other big things, oppose legislative efforts to ban educational materials that provide an inclusive and historically accurate, well-rounded education. Oppose regulations, policies, and restrictions that overburden or unreasonably penalize educators and support staff as they educate and care for students. I can tell you that the administrivia that we as a district have to do is enormous. And whatever we could do to reduce that would be a huge help. Let's see what else we have in here. There's a talk about recovery of improperly received or expended public funds by charter and private school organizations. Talks about modernizing broadband, which is important to our district because there's a good chunk of our county that does not have broadband service right now. Formula adjustments, including transportation. There's talk about some school and safety stuff, and then some federal advocacy as well on the last page. That's in addition to what you've already seen prior to this. And there's some, this basically, I think, took last year's and updated and modified.
Any discussion on any of the red line items? And we've talked about a lot of this, and we put forth our thoughts on what we wanted to see. And I think they're kind of incorporated. Some of them. Some of them.
Some of them.
Do you want my speech or not?
No. Yes,
Then
of
I will keep
course.
quiet.
Yes, of course.
I've said it every year for 10 years. Let me do it again.
Go for it.
Okay.
It's your time. I'm giving you, wait, here we
You
go.
get 90, I got 90 seconds. Okay. No, in all seriousness, I still think they make a mistake having too many items on because you lose your message if you got 20 or 30 things. My recommendation would be very simple. Roman numeral 1, item 1, 2, and 3 are perfectly good things that should be the focus for this year. Everything else will come in due time if we can get 1, 2, and 3 taken care of. End of speech.
All right.
Is that your motion? Do you want to just approve items 1, 2, and 3?
With Roman numeral 1, 1, 2, and 3. Sure, I'll make a motion.
I mean, because nothing says we have to approve the entire document. We can approve what we want to on it and just send it down. They're not gonna hear us regardless.
Yeah, no, I understand.
And maybe that's making a mistake.
Well, and I
Doing
don't, the
something
rest of
like
the board may, sometimes they do.
Can I ask a
disagree.
question? And this is really gonna go to Karen. When you go online, what are your options on what you do online? Is it all or
that.
nothing?
We're not
It's all or
approving.
nothing.
It's all or nothing.
She's the one that has
Can
to
you put a
either say
comment?
approve or not
I
approve.
can give it a shot.
Then I will withdraw my motion because I'm not going to make a motion to disapprove the agenda.
All right, well, I'll go ahead and make the motion to approve the ASBA draft 2024 political agenda.
A second, please.
I'll second it.
Thank you. All in favor?
I
Aye.
Saw some good things in here.
I mean, there's definitely
Yeah.
good and not so.
Well, they're all good.
Yes.
It's just a strategy, I think, is mistaken. But that's, I say that every year, so what?
Item 9C, increase in pay to participate for sports. Mr. Dunn.
Thank you very much, board, for having me here today. I've been here for 10 years coaching sports, and we have not had an increase in fees since I've been here. With technology increasing, we got new programs, impact testing for monitoring concussions, because this is prominent right now. And we have a final form system to maintain that data, to get back to the parents and all of that, so that they know exactly what's happening as soon as we treat them. I'm looking to increase the fee by $15 per sport. So the first fee was first sport $150, so now it's going up to $165. Second fee was $100, it's going up to $115. Last fee for third sport was $75. We'd like to now make it $90, increase of $15 per. And we're gonna cap the family fee at $600 because these families will hit that fee early.
And that's the family cap
Yes.
currently, correct?
The family cap currently is 500.
Oh, okay.
Current, the family cap is currently 500.
I'm gonna be completely honest, I don't like this. I don't like this because I'm a single mom who I guarantee have other people. I have a daughter that plays 3 sports, which I'm looking at $370. Plus, I'm looking at the food that it costs to get my daughter when she goes to games, the gas that it takes me to come in and out of practices. I don't know how people can afford for their children to play sports.
So those were actually a couple of comments I was going to make too. There's alternatives for children. We don't turn anyone away for not being able to.
Exactly. There are methods that we can do to decrease our the
Offset
fees,
and or
offset.
pay.
We can work with the district. There are ways of doing this,
Okay.
payment plans or what have you.
And maybe Cindy can talk a little bit about the foundation's work with that.
So Mr. Campitelli sits on the Chino Valley Education Foundation Board, and he brings recommendations to the board for students that could use assistance with things like appropriate footwear for their sport, assistance with pay to play. At the beginning of each sports season, our family resource specialist, Lori Marley, emails Christine Reese Evans, our athletic secretary, and says, give me a list of all the kids who are, either going out for the sport or on the team or whatever, made the cut. And then Lori calls the list for students who are homeless. And so the students who are homeless, we pay the pay to play from donations that come in for our homeless program. And also the foundation also pays for, like, we pay for cheer uniforms for kids who are homeless and things like that. So we have a lot. In addition to that, the foundation provides several $100s in gift cards to coaches for restaurants. So when kids are on the road for away games, the coach has cards to buy meals for students who couldn't afford meals. So foundation donations for student support and or homeless students. We also pick up lots of direct fees associated with pay to play, but also all the other sort of hidden expenses that go with having a kid participate in athletics or band trips.
Does the foundation go by an income-based type of
Yes, so the
program?
foundation is a QCO, which is a qualifying charitable organization in Arizona, which allows us to be, like when you make a tax credit donation to a school, you actually can give, in addition to what you give to a school, you can give to a QCO. And it's double the donation that you can give to a school. So you can give to a school, you can double it for a QCO. And then, so because of that, a minimum of 51% of what the foundation spends its money on has to be for children of poverty. And since we maintain records in the school district for free and reduced lunch and things like that, we have easy access to making sure that we're maintaining that. And just as an FYI, the Weekend Meal Bags Project, which is starting this Thursday, accounts for probably 65 to 70% of the foundation's spending. And those are all students who have been vetted as being from a financially needy family. And so we easily meet it. So if there are kids who are sort of on that, don't they? We have lots and lots of wiggle room to be able to provide for students for athletics and other extracurricular things they may be doing.
I have a question. I think you answered this, but when was last time that we did
I
an
was here,
increase?
this is my 10th year and I have not seen an increase. And remember, this money goes to help the teams buy equipment, and we know the equipment has gone up substantially. So this will help the teams themselves and offset some of their technology costs.
I'm going to use you as an example, Annie, just because, Jordan plays 3 sports.
Yeah.
So you're talking $45 for a child like that for the whole year, $45 extra, because it's $15 per sport, right? Math was not my strong point, Sue, but, so I'm just saying that for the families that may be watching on YouTube, we're not asking for hundreds and hundreds of dollars
It's
extra.
$15 per sport, just to offset some of the technology and equipment costs.
Absolutely, and I have the exact same concerns that you did.
I just, when I look at the numbers, and when you put it into perspective, $45, you know what I mean? But I would hate to see some people not be able to and not know about the programs that we have available either,
And if they come to our meetings for each sport, we tell them point blank, there is assistance out there. Please speak to us.
And
We can't help people unless they speak.
Right, and something I had asked Mr. Scholl to look at is making sure that the coaches have all that. I know the coaches have that information, but a lot of our families do not go to the beginning meetings, or the parents do not. And so I think that message gets lost somewhere. Oh,
Yeah, just so
fantastic.
you know,
We have
these
a big
meetings are
turnout.
now.
I'm now an empty
Sports.
nester. I don't know, so.
And I also, Cindy, you had talked about how sometimes the coaches step up and will,
Exactly.
and you get coaches that will out of their own pocket pay to participate for kids. And not just, it's not a particular kid, and it happens multiple times. And so these coaches are really looking out for their athletes as well.
That's why the foundation works so hard to try to communicate with the athletic department that we don't want the coaches spending their own money.
Right.
Yeah, I agree.
Me too. How about you guys? Questions, comments, concerns?
I like both sides of what I'm hearing.
I'm right now a little sympathetic to Annie's concerns. The case doesn't seem compelling, Mr. Dunn. I have to admit. There's talk that coaches put in their money, but I want to know how much. And is that true? And is that really happening? And when you're saying offset the costs, well, I don't know that the costs are increasing. It's
Look,
just-
look, you've coached basketball for us. A basketball used to cost $65. Now they're $135 for a practice ball and upwards of $180 for a game ball. And you know, you go through multiple basketballs during the course of a year. Me as a softball coach, a dozen softballs when I started were $65 a dozen. Now they're $135, if not more, for practice balls, and then game balls exceed that. A bat used to cost $100 and now they're $500. A glove was $40 and now they're $200. And when the kids don't have it, I personally buy gloves for these kids. And I can bring in kids that I've done this for. And so we're not turning kids away. We're just trying to offset some of these costs that the coaches have to come up with.
I have a question, I just want you to know that this is nothing personal towards you. I'm just speaking
Yeah.
because I feel like I'm a voice up here, okay? How, for instance, how many volleyball players tried out for volleyball at the high school?
I want to say there was 3 teams that tried out, so 36 kids.
36 kids and nobody was cut this year.
Unfortunately, I don't have that information right in front of me.
I'm gonna tell you that I don't think anybody was cut. And let's do 30 kids times.
But they're also trying to build programs and keep kids.
$4,950 just in volleyball. That's paid to play their first sport.
But that's not all going, all I'm asking for is a $15 increase to offset the technology costs. They were gonna get that anyway for the pay to play.
Are we still lower than our neighboring schools?
We are at the same point as our neighboring schools.
With or
When-
without the increase.
Without the increase, I do believe we're still comparable to Bradshaw and Prescott.
Sure.
I mean,
And I guess I can say another personal one to answer your question, Mike, as a coach's wife. I know in the past 5 years, there's been at least 3 players that he's admitted to paying the pay to participate in countless meals, countless. So I know the coaches do put in their own money.
And I do know that we live in a society right now that everything is so expensive. Like, I get that, you know? My only concern is, for one, people not being aware of the programs that we have available, and 2, somebody not speaking up to come get help is what, another thing.
And that's why a list is sent as soon as the teams are chosen. Coaches are supposed to send a team list to Lori Marley so that we can cross-reference and contact those people.
Just to kind of,
So,
Oh, sorry.
I guess really my question is, Matt, are we doing without? I'm not hearing that we're doing without.
Well, the thing is, we just got a new trainer, athletic trainer, and she's implementing new procedures out there. Like, we just had 165 kids in the cafeteria taking an impact testing online so we can get baseline concussion tests for all these kids. And that's why I was a little bit late getting over here.
How much do they cost per student?
I believe it's $5.95 per, but we have to buy a block, a certificate. It's between 0 and 50, 51 to 100. The cost drops down as we go. So we have to look into it. This is our first year with it. So, it's going to have its growing pains, but it's going to make things a lot easier, especially say your child gets hurt. We have that baseline testing. We can see immediately, give them an iPad, they can be tested right then and there. So it's immediate feedback for an injury.
We're not able to pay for this? Is that what you're saying?
Well, we're paying for it, yes,
Okay.
but
And so-
there's just the cost that goes along with it. And we're trying to offset some of that cost, because if I take the money out of the $150 that first pay to play, those teams are not going to get the full fund, because I'm taking that $15 out of there. So the team will only get $135 instead of $150. Have you guys bought a uniform lately? Football jerseys are $135 per jersey. Pants are almost $200, shoulder pads. It's very expensive to have sports. Very, very expensive.
A quick comment to just, I'm a numbers guy. So Matt said that in 10 years, it hasn't been increased. We're asking on the actually on the low side, because we're increasing the others, but $15 on $150 is 10%. Inflation last year was like 7. So we're, over the past 10 years, we're probably looking at 50% inflation, if not more. And so, you say, to be honest, educators are the perfect enablers. Are we ever going to go without? No. But instead of buying a uniform every 3 years, we might do it every 4 years when it should be done every 3 years. So kids aren't going to go without. We're managing. This just makes it a little bit easier to manage is what we're really asking for. And again, it's not something that we ask for on an annual basis. And you're treating it just like it should be, which is a big deal. And I appreciate that. But I think that it's, again, not something that we ask for on a regular basis. And it's 10% over the past 10 years.
All right, well, since I'm the one who really kind of opened this can of beans. I feel like it would be right. I mean, I understand. I have to tell you, the reason I feel like our board is so great is because we can have these discussions like this and we each bring something different to the table. And when I read this immediately, I kind of got my blood boiled a little bit. And just because I feel like that's one of the reasons why I'm on the board is that I speak for parents, I speak for, whoever my heart goes out to. So in this specific example, it's for a parent and a single parent at that. So when you put into perspective, like it's only going to cost me another $45 a year, I can make that happen. So.
And I was gonna say, I speak for the teachers, because every year, before I started teaching, I spent hundreds of dollars for my classroom out of my own pocket. And if I wanted to do something special with the kids, I didn't ask for money. I went and got it. Yeah, I mean, I understand that too. You don't want any child not to be able to participate. They want to. And I appreciate that too.
I guess my final comment would be if this passes this evening, while I know the message is out there, if we could just continue to get the message out there and ensure that
Absolutely.
families know that there are alternatives and resources.
And I agree with you about having the parents come to the meetings so they know what's going on. Make it mandatory that if their child's going to be in sports, they need to come to the meeting.
To be honest with you, I was hoping that when you guys made it mandatory, that everyone was going to get to meet the new principal. That's why I thought it was making it mandatory because they've never done that before. And I was like, yay, everybody's going to get to meet the new principal. And they're like, no, we're just making this mandatory. And I'm like, oh, okay, cool. So just so you know, I won't be coming to the next one. Just kidding.
Can I ask one question?
Absolutely, please.
When does it start?
We'd like to start it this year.
So
the
what
fall
season?
teams right now, the fall
Okay.
season.
Like,
So
my
we
family
just
would
had
probably
kids
do
get
now.
chosen for teams. They've been coming in to ask to pay, and I'm like, hold off until we know what's going on.
Okay, so we're not gonna have to go back and say, oh, you owe us
Nope.
$15.
Kids have not paid anything yet.
Dang it, I should have brought my check in today. Just kidding. All right, if it's okay with you gentlemen, I'll go ahead and make the motion for the approval of the $15 extra. Are you okay with that?
You make the motion and we'll go from there.
Are you okay with that too?
Just make the motion and we'll go
Okay.
from there.
All right, I'll make the motion for the approval to increase the pay to participate fee per each sport played as listed above.
You have a second?
I'll second it.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All opposed? All right, aye.
Very much, board.
Thank you. Item 10A, and an orchestra, yay.
So, Madam President, members of the board, it's really good to be here. First time I get to say hello. I am the new principal at CBH CBHS. It would have been great to go to that meeting.
Noted for next year.
I'm here on behalf of our band director. My background is in fine arts. I was a band teacher, so I said, I think I can handle this one. But basically what we're trying to do is add, it's going to be twofold. If we add a band and orchestra, it's kind of like a beginning band and orchestra class. It will allow kids who are already enrolled at CBHS to sign up and learn how to play an instrument, either band or orchestra. So you don't have to have, there's no prereq. And the goal is to maybe recruit some talent out there that we're not aware of, or recruit back some kids who maybe took it in 6th grade or who are rusty and want to relearn or learn something new. But also it will help our counseling department provide an extra elective, which we're really hoping to do. We've got some ideas and things for like sped kiddos, but this would be open to anybody who's just interested in learning the extra.
Fantastic.
Any questions, comments?
I just really agree with this because I learned how to play a flute when I was a kid. I still have my flute, so. But I just, and I always sang in choirs and I sing in church too. So anyway, appreciate that. And this is a talent that's kind of been put under the rug for a while, and having the children express their talents, it helps them feel better about themselves too. So,
Right. I will make the motion for the approval to add beginning band orchestra to 23-24 CBHS course description.
A second?
I'll second it for sure.
Fantastic. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Thank you.
Of course.
Thank you, Mr. All right, item 10B, determination of excess capacity for open enrollment for the 23-24 school year. Mr. Joel.
Okay, back in September of 2017, the governing board approved limits for class sizes for both regular ed and special ed programs. And so annually, we come to you and say, based on these class sizes, these are classes that are can handle more kids. These are grade levels that can handle more kids. These are ones that can't. And so just to let you know, this is for open enrollment only, kids that do not live in our school district. If a kid lives in our school district, we're going to take them. But if a kid comes from Prescott or Humboldt or Ashford and wants to enroll in 2nd grade, we are not going to accept them, because 2nd grade has reached at least 95% capacity, and we are just leaving that extra 5 or maybe over capacity for those kids coming in. Okay, so based on the class sizes that were approved in 2017, based on our current enrollment, there's a chart that shows each grade level and each program and how things are going. But based on this, our current kinder, 4th, 5th, 6th, 7th, and 9th through 12th would continue to be open. So we would accept open enrollment students in those grade levels. 1st, 2nd, 3rd, and 8th would be closed to open enrollment. And then for our special ed programs, we would be open at Territorial, Del Rio, and Heritage would have their EDP programs open to open enrollment, and tech centers would be open to open enrollment. We come back to you every quarter or so to update this and approve these numbers, but this is where we currently are, and this is what would be put in place for at least the foreseeable future.
John?
Yes, sir.
Quick comment. If I remember also that if we have a closed grade at a school and it's showing closed, a principal can bring to the board a request to override that, and we have made those decisions in the past.
Correct. And there are some rules that, and it's kind of laid out in the action required. Children of employees are exempt from this. Current open enrollment students. So if they were open enrollment last year, they're going to be in our system. We're not going to kick them out. And then also siblings of current open enrollment students are also available to come in. So those are some exemptions to this. If you're in the system, you're kind of going to be allowed to stay in the system. Or if you teach for us or work for the district, your child but you don't live in the district, you're still eligible to bring your child here. But it's those really new out-of-district people that we're talking about that would be subject to this.
I just want to make sure the board remembers that we do have the ability to make decisions on a case-by-case basis.
I think there was 2 last year that you guys did that
Yes.
were, they were like right on the border of our district and that kind of thing.
One had other kids already in
Yeah.
the district. That's what I was remembering back, it was fairly recently, that we
Uh-huh.
had one of those.
Yep.
So that's good. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Any
All
other
right.
discussion on this?
Nope, I'll make the motion to approve the determination of excess capacity for the 23-24 school year and determine that children of employees, current open enrollment students enrolled in 22-23, and the siblings of current open enrollment students enrolled in 22-23 are not subject to assigned enrollment policy.
All right, a second.
I'll second it.
Thank you,
Wait for
Marcia.
these guys to say something.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, put Carol on the spot next. All right, item 10C, recommendations for early admission in kindergarten. Mrs. Cox.
Good evening. It's that time of year where we have our formal request from parents to have early entrance. They have to be 5 by September 1st, actually August 31st. September 1st is when we cut it off. We had 8, so there is a correction in your packet. It says 6, but there was actually 8 parents that did formal requests. Out of those 8 requests, after the screening through Jumpstart and all 10, our kindergarten teachers reviewing everything, we are requesting accepting 7 of them as early entrances. We didn't accept 1, and that's, we toyed with it back and forth a little bit, but out of those 7 that we are accepting, 5 of them did attend preschool, so they have the social skills. It's more than just academics. We look at the whole picture. How is this going to look later on? And there's a lot of states that we have to weigh it out because we're taking them early, that they would go on to first grade, even if we didn't think they were ready, because we don't get ADM if at the end of the year we say they're not ready. So for the following year. So we really weigh it out and look at everything, and the teachers do not know their birth date when we do the screening, so it's a fair across the board. It's not, oh, they're early entrance, they're out. We're not doing that, so. So we're requesting that we can accept 7 and we're denying 1 acceptance.
And Randy, the one you were not, you're not requesting, did not attend preschool last year.
He didn't attend our preschool.
Oh, he did?
He did not attend
No.
our
Oh,
preschool
okay.
territorial.
So obviously that's a lot of the
It-
the pre-learning that would have been very helpful in your recommendation, I presume.
We don't put that in there because then we're kind of skewing it a little bit, but he is somebody we do not know. However, I know his family, and his family is very supportive, but he's just not quite there. So
Sometimes boys just aren't.
they just need a little extra
Yeah.
time. So they just wanted to try, the parents were very accepting. They just wanted to try and see where he was at.
This side of the board is not going to comment on it.
Oh. Statistically, that shows research, but we're not gonna go there.
All right, any questions or anything from Mrs. Cox over here? You ladies good?
Yep, I'll make the motion to approve early kindergarten, or deny early kindergarten entrance for students as per policy JE.
7 students.
7
Let's throw that
students.
at 7.
7 students.
7
approved.
All right. And a second?
Sure.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All right. Have a great rest of your week, everyone. Thank you for being here.
6:03.
I did not meet the challenge.
No.
She did not.
Don't leave me.
I'm not leaving.